Parents around the country are trying to answer a major question. How do they keep children safe from guns at school? A district in Texas has found a new radical option, modified tornado shelters. Jobin Paniker takes us inside of one.
When the problem finally hits home, every option is on the table. It was somebody else's problem until it happened in McKinney. A student committed suicide inside a classroom.
These are our families, children that I'm in charge of protecting.
Terry Shaw believes his school district has the answer. Their solution is subtle. A reading room, a playroom to most, is their safest room.
The way I look at it, this becomes an extension of the classroom.
The first school to have a ballistic and storm shelter. The shelter can fit 25 students and 2 teachers, and it can be done in seconds. There are 7 on this campus.
Now we are shooting a Smith & Wesson.
We took that shelter to target practice at Red River West in Gainesville, using many levels of firepower.
.357 Magnum, Red 7 AR-15.
Represented on the wall of this shelter is every type of weapon that has ever been used in school shootings.
All right, guys, fire in a hole!
He's blasting right about knee level. Amazing, you can feel the hit.
The first layer took a serious dent, but it did not penetrate.
So when you're safely locked up inside, you can clearly see what's going on outside the room.
This shelter is what helps Superintendent Shaw sleep at night. Built in honor of Chris, who went to comfort a friend and was crushed by a wall.
And he did that day. But at 9 years old, he doesn't realize that he was going to die.
McKinney will have to decide what's best for it, and parents will tell you everything is on the table. But status quo is not.